Today I'm so excited to be starting my new series of Slaying Snow and Cocoa. I have a recent video up for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and I'm so excited to be where I am today. I would never have imagined to have this many people following me, and all of your comments are so wonderful. Thank you so much for everything that you guys have been saying. I have been liking the comments, but I have not been commenting or replying to the comments because that screws up the numbers with YouTube, and I don't want to mess with the contest subscription. So I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys providing all of those wonderful sayings. So this is the first layout in the Slaying Snow and Cocoa. I actually used very little of the paper pad. Those 4 pieces at the top there came from the 6x6 paper pad. So I didn't do a good job in this one. I'm going to give myself a low grade, but I really wanted those smaller prints because this was a huge part of it. This sketch is from Scrapbook Generations, and I think I talked about it in the giveaway where I plan to use old kits that I had from Scrapbook Generation to create these layouts. And so that's the next 3 layouts that you see will be from this one kit, because you received just 2 or 3 pieces of paper and was able to create 3 layouts based on the sketches. The paper that I received for this particular one had 1 sheet of paper that had 4 quadrants on it, so 4 pieces of 6x6 paper pad. And also, while putting these 3 layouts together, because I have already created the first 3, I realized that this may be a little more difficult to follow along with because the pattern paper that's in those kits are double-sided, and the paper that's from this paper pad is single-sided. So while I should have been able to kill 3 pieces of paper with those 3 layouts, I wasn't able to because they weren't double-sided. But I was able to get quite a bit of it used up, at least for, the first couple layouts. So now let's get into the layout itself. The top 4 pieces there are a little bit different than what I started out with, but I ended up using 4 6x6 pieces of paper towards the top, and then the sketch called for 6 4x4 photos down at the bottom, which is what I went ahead and did. The top section where all of the pictures are at the top, it is not what it called for in the sketch. The sketch is completely different, but I felt like it was just adding photos on top of pattern paper, and I felt like I could get away with doing whatever I wanted. I did use some of the washi tape. I really like that gold glitter washi tape. And actually, these 3 layouts, I wanted to use some of that washi tape. I'm not a washi tape fan. I don't use a lot of it, but I really liked how all of the layouts came together with these little tiny pieces of washi. So I'm pulling out the bits and pieces from like different ephemera packs. Those 2 snowmen are, or I guess it's I guess they're snowmen. I don't see any distinguish between whether they're girls or boys. I put them there, and I'm using the Hickory Smoke, which is a really light gray, to edge up or distress the edges of the snowman, which I really liked that Hickory Smoke because it kind of gives it that dirty snow look, which I've never seen snow before. This is my first time, and we saw white powder. It really was beautiful white powder when we were up at the cabin, but when we went down into, because the cabin was up in some mountains, but when we went down into the city, the snow was really gross and dirty. So I was glad that we were able to get that powder snow up there. I went ahead and cut out that little star ephemera, and then I pull out 2 wood veneer. One is a little scroll, and then the other one is a heart. And I first started out with just these 2 clusters Actually, I'm just working on the right hand side cluster, but then I started to work on a cluster over there on the left next to the two photos there of the boys on the tubes. So and they're dark photos because we were trying to figure out, this was our first night out in the snow, so we didn't take really good pictures out there. But the photos that are all down the bottom are on this sled that we had. And then those two photos that are up there together, we also got a tube, but that tube busted, like it hit a branch or a tree and got a big hole in it. Like the fourth or fifth time it went down. So we didn't get a lot of pictures in that because we didn't get a chance to use it a lot. So the cluster on the far right hand side, I have a tag that says snowman mittens, and I'm putting a piece of washi tape down right underneath it, and then I have that wood heart veneer, the wood veneer heart right underneath that washi tape. I also add a piece of that black and white washi tape right underneath the snowman, and that little, it was a frame that I cut apart that says burr burr burr. So I first was just working with those two clusters, but then I realized I needed a third one, and I thought it would be perfect to have that cluster down there at the bottom. And that cluster does expand across both the left and right layout to truly make that triangle. I didn't want to stick it on one side of the layout. I felt as if that would give either the left or the right, particularly the left on this one, too much weight, and I didn't want to do that. So I added that house tag and then a little snow chipboard piece right above it, as well as some washi in the blue buffalo check. I pulled out these gold hearts, and these tags have holes in them because they're technically tags, and I wanted to cover that up. So I added a little tiny heart to the top of the house, and that snow day with the girl, I'm going to end up adding an enamel dot right there where the hole is, because the hole is between the word snow and day. I have these bigger enamel dots that I am tucking underneath, so that's a tip that I've given in another video. If you have enamel dots that are too big, just tuck them underneath different pieces, ephemera pieces, or things like that, and it will help with the size of the enamel dots. After I finished this layout, which is where I'm at now, I'm almost finished with it, I put it aside, and because I thought I was done. And then when I started working on a couple of the other layouts, I realized I didn't have a title. So you will see in these close-ups and the final layout that I added a title, as well as I created some splatters on that black and white print, just to give it a little extra color since it was such a stark black and white. That is my first layout for Slaying Snow and Cocoa. I'm looking forward to continuing to finish out this paper pad. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.